Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Dadas Show, coming to you from Gong Hills Hotel here in Nairobi. I'm your host, Ashiko Mbune. The Dadas Show continues to aspire to promote the spirit of sisterhood and solidarity amongst Kenyan women. And we do that by creating a very open, very safe platform for women to be able to discuss issues pertaining to their health, their lifestyle, their career, and choices that affect their lives in one way or another. So, February is known as the month of love. Love for each other, love for our planet, love for our siblings, but most importantly, love for yourself. On this second part of our two-part series celebrating love, we will be focusing on self-love. What is self-love? And what does it mean to practice self-love? How do we begin to do so? And what are the different aspects of self-love? Because as they say, after all, self-love is the most important love of all. So joining me today to dig deeper are three women who, in my opinion, encompass all the aspects and all the facets of self-love. So before we get into that, I will always and will continue to encourage you to take part in this conversation from wherever you are. So always engage us on our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1. We want to hear your comments, your feedbacks, your questions, even any suggestions about some stories that we should or we have already featured. You know, let us know what you think about this and any other episode that we've aired before at KBC Channel 1 across all your platforms. So before we jump into this very, very exciting conversation, let's have a look at the following feature.
Self-love encompasses kindness, compassion, and caring for your physical and mental well-being, which is very beneficial. Self-love can mean something different for each person because we all have many different ways to take care of ourselves. It is good to remember that holding yourself in high esteem makes you choose things that nurture your well-being and serve you well, for instance, eating healthy, exercising, or having healthy relationships. Some of the self-love practice to put into consideration is practicing good self-care skin routine. For any woman above the age of 30 years old, it is important to have a skincare routine to maintain that youthful glow. We met Jan Bogo, CEO of Premier.C, who gave us the do's and don'ts for anti-aging facial routine.
Hi, my name is Jane Bogo, CEO of Premier.C. I am 57 years old and my passion is in skincare. I started taking care of my skin when I turned 30 and my skin started breaking out, and I decided that the best thing is for me to actually find a routine. So I looked for the best natural products that I could get, and I went around looking for products and I settled on one. And since then, I make sure every morning I must cleanse my skin, I must tone my skin, I must moisturize, I mask at least once a week, and I also use a medical gadget that makes sure that I don't have any lines or fine lines coming to me. So every day is a process. It is not something that you do once and stop. It's a journey. It's not. It's a routine. It's not something you do once. If you want to really have an anti-aging journey and to maintain your skin such that you look 30 when you're going to your 60, you must be ready to do the work. You must be ready to do the work. There is no shortcut to that. So I need to demonstrate to you what I do every day. On my journey to find out the right products, I made quite a number of mistakes. I got a product that, because I had some spots on me, it was a bit harsh and actually made my face start like bleaching. I got yellow in some patches, I got black in some patches. It was just a harsh product, and I knew that I was doing it the wrong way. So I decided to try yet another. So I went on to, I'm not going to mention any products for now, but what I can tell you is, if you do not look for something natural, you're bound to get these kind of reactions. The next one I did made my whole face swell, and that's when I learned I was actually allergic to honey. It was just something small, but the product had been mixed with a lot of honey, so it made my whole face blow up. And for about a month, I was actually hiding myself in the room. So that's when I actually decided, you know, first I need to talk to a dermatologist so that I can know whether I have any allergies. So it is very important that you also know your skin type. You must have someone analyze your skin and recommend what you should use. You just can't go blindly.
Aging like fine wine, as commonly used with ladies on their birthday, can only be achieved by a disciplined facial routine. From waking up in the morning to going to sleep at night, every step matters.
The morning routine always starts with the cleanser. It's very important to cleanse your skin from the night sweats, from any makeup that was left over from the night before. So always make sure you cleanse your skin everywhere, back of the ear. Make sure you remove all the dirt and make sure when you're checking there is no dirt left on the tissue. You must also tone your skin. This helps to give you an even skin tone and also helps to close the pores. So you put just a bit of the cleanser. Always use a different cotton wool. For purpose of demonstration, I'll just use this. And you tone your skin, back of the eye, everywhere, the neck. Never ever forget to touch the neck and the back of the ear. So once your skin is well toned, the next step is to use whatever you're using. Always cover the eye area first. Take your eye gel. Yeah, there we go. Take your eye gel. Very little is enough. I've actually just put too much. It's not necessary. Take very little and just apply near the eye. Yeah. Be very gentle, and if possible, always use your ring finger because it has less strength. So put this like that and just always pull up because these are anti-aging products. What I use at my age has to be anti-aging, from the cleanser to the toner to the moisturizer. So start with the eye and cover that area up. Let it be absorbed for about 2 seconds. Take your serum. Take your serum again. Apply. This is more open. Apply your serum. Preferably with upward movements because we are trying to stop the fine lines from coming. We are trying to remove the small wrinkles. So always apply with your abdomen. Don't forget your lips, back of the ear, very important, and the neck. Let it sit for about 2 minutes, and then you come to your moisturizer. Yeah, take your moisturizer, and always keep your moisturizer in a dark place because too much light can affect it. This is a gold moisturizer I'm using. So just take as little as possible, 3, just 1 dot. Use your fingers to apply because sometimes you put directly on your hands, it's absorbed by your dry hands. So always make sure you use your fingers, spread it out, and let it be absorbed gently. Just massage your finger. Always remember to drain your lymphatic, you see, like that. When you drain, make sure you drain, there's no more liquid left inside. Then, what is it called? The lymphatic liquid has to be drained out. The eye, make sure if you do this, it goes better. It absorbed better into the skin. Let it be absorbed. Don't be in a hurry to wipe it out. Take your time and let it be absorbed before you think of going on to the makeup. This is the morning routine you do just before going to work. And the last step, and very necessary step like I had mentioned earlier, is the sunscreen. You must apply your sunscreen before you leave the house. Whether it's raining, whether it's cold, it doesn't matter whether the sun is out. A sunscreen is a must for every woman. It's a must. You cannot avoid it. You cannot stay without it. That's how, especially as you age, we end up getting sunspots and you have black skin, your skin turning black over here, you have a different skin tone over here. So always make sure the last thing you do before you leave the house, whether you're going to put makeup, you can put the makeup on top, but always make sure you put your sunscreen and you cover your neck, your hands, because sometimes when you're driving, your hands are there near the wheel, so they get burnt. So you cover your hands, you cover your neck, you cover your face. Sunscreen is very essential to this routine. And that is how you should leave your house.
Getting facial products that work for you goes a long way in maintaining that youthful look. Understanding what self-love looks like for you as an individual is an important part of your mental health as it helps you to make healthy choices in life.
Welcome back. As mentioned, today we will be discussing about self-love. And you remember this is the second part of the two-part series in celebrating love in honor of the month of February. So as I mentioned before the break, there are various aspects of self-love. So there is self-awareness, there's self-worth, self-esteem, and self-care. So next to me, I am joined by counseling psychologist. We did interact with her in the first part of our two-part series, and she is Jacqueline Gathrus. She's a counseling psychologist. Next to her, we have Madam Jane Mbogo. So most of us fondly refer to her as the ageless beauty and the anti-aging guru in Kenya. I'm sure there's so many women at home who are so excited to hear what she has to say. And then finally, we have Madam Kate Mora, who is a health and a fitness enthusiast. I'm not saying it properly, enthusiast and a trainer. I mean, you can already tell from whatever she's dressed, and she's ready to start doing for us, her sit-ups right now. So, of course, to get the ball rolling, I really want to appreciate, and I cannot reiterate this enough, my wonderful audience for taking time each and every recording to come and sit with us and engage with us, engage with the panel, to learn more, to discover more, and of course, to support the Dadas show. We would genuinely not be here without you guys. So to get the ball rolling, I'll start off with you, Jacqueline. This is obviously a different pace compared to what we did last week, where we talked on interpersonal love, and we got an opportunity to meet, relationships, and people who've been married for 40 years, others have been married in five years. So today we're talking about intra-personal love, which is also known as self-love. So for our viewers back at home, kindly define for us, people are like, what is this self-love business? Kindly define for us what we mean by self-love.
Self-love is basically love of self, self-explanatory. How you show up for yourself, how you love yourself, how you nurture yourself, how you take care of your mind, how you take care of your body, how you communicate your boundaries, how you honor your needs. Basically that. Because most of us are raised to know how to be there for other people, but we do not know how to be there for ourselves. We don't know how to advocate for ourselves. We don't know how to affirm and communicate love to ourselves. So that's what self-love is all about.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
We'll get back to that as we continue with our conversation, because like you said, most of us have been raised not knowing how to love yourself. And especially in the African community, the moment you become proud, I don't know if any of you have ever witnessed that with maybe our parents or our older siblings, whenever you become proud of something that you have done or an accomplishment that you have made, it's always looked like it's a bit boastful, or sometimes self-love is nobody can understand. Is it being self-love? Is it someone being a narcissist? Yeah. So we'll get back to that later on too. So you can give us some tips on actually how to love ourselves. So on the topic of self-care, which, my question to you, Jane, is, you have been defined as the ageless beauty, and maybe, fingers crossed, you'll tell us how old you are, and what is your definition of effortless beauty, and how do you go about helping women achieve that?
To me, effortless beauty is, as she said, loving yourself. And for me to be able to love myself, it's about how you carry yourself, how you talk, how you relate to people, how you listen when somebody's talking to you, how you take care of your skin, how you stand, how you sit, because we're supposed to be effortless. You're supposed to walk in a room and people can see that, she's beautiful without even having to say anything. That kind of effortless needs just to come from inside. Yes. It is nothing you can get from outside. Mm-hmm. Once you have that love for yourself inside, it will show. It will, the minute you talk to people, the minute you try to express yourself, it all stands out. So it's very important the way we take care of ourselves, the way we stand, the way we sit. That for me is self-love.
So, as an anti-aging guru, how do you go about helping women achieve that effortless that you're talking about,
You look at yourself in the mirror every morning. It's important. And when you look at yourself in the mirror, you don't because that's one thing, as you said, in the African custom, we are so used to thinking that if self-love is also being selfish. Like how can you love yourself? You're supposed to love others. So we try not to show that we love ourselves, and it's the worst thing. And also we self-critique ourselves. You know, you'll always put yourself down. And the way I look at it is, look at it like even if you make a mistake, it's like the way you would treat somebody you love. You know, you forgive them immediately, you talk to them, you calm them down. Do that to yourself. You know, convince yourself that I am valuable, I am self-worthy, I am self-confident. It all comes down to coming from within. Honestly, there's no deeper way. And the women, I tell them, when you are taking care of yourself, for example, the most important thing for a woman is to always look well groomed. You know, always make sure your eyebrows are well, your hair is set, your dress is presentable, and never speak too fast. You know, always listen to people. Generally, it's being a woman.
Decorum. It's actually it's decorum. It's etiquette.
It's etiquette.
Yes.
It's etiquette.
Yeah.
That is what will make you look like that effortless beauty. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jane. So, Kate, now we move on to something. So we've already touched a little bit about what's happening inside, what's happening outside, you know, with both Jackie and Jane. Now, you are a trainer. In your opinion, what role does fitness and health play in the overall feeling of self-love?
Self-love is loving yourself. So the role it plays in myself, in someone's, is you show up for yourself. Fitness means at that time you're pouring into your cup. As women, we spend most of the days pouring into other people, being a mother, being a teacher, being an employee, being a CEO. But when you carve out time for yourself, you're pouring into you. And you all know you cannot pour from an empty cup, so you feel for yourself. So if you be intentional about it, you carve out time for yourself, you show up for yourself, you do the things that you love. You know, fitness is not all about weightlifting or in the gym. Could be a sport, could be a walk, could be playing with your kids. You do something that you love that boosts your mood and pushes you physically.
Well, from what I hear, I'm still on that journey. There's always a release of endorphins when you work out, and endorphins are known as the feel-good hormone, yeah? So, of course, that is definitely a part of, you know, loving yourself, you know, pushing yourself. So, now I'm back to what we had started on, because we are talking about now we need to get to the meat of self-love. What are some of the practices that we should include in our daily routine? You know, I love what Kate has talked about. You know, fitness does not necessarily mean you run to the gym. And I think that is a misconception that many people have. So if I cannot be able to afford to pay for a gym membership, then I'm not going to engage in this. So even by taking a walk, you know, even by playing with your kids, you know, even by hiking, so you are pouring into the cup that more often you pour out. So now, back into the mental space, in the space of self-awareness. What are some of the practices that we should include in our daily routine to actually promote self-awareness?
Number one is to be able to know how to put your boundaries in place. So we have a difference between having boundaries and stonewalling people. And these are words that you're commonly misusing. Having boundaries is just knowing that you can only let people come this far. You're protecting your peace. You're protecting your mind, you're protecting your spirit so that you don't get contaminated. So how do you communicate your boundaries? Because deep down you know what you stand up for. And most people are not bold enough to actually communicate this. So we let people step on us, we let people be unkind to us, we let people hurt us, and we're not even able to speak up and say, you know what, I've had it, this is enough. So putting your boundaries in place means letting people know that, you know, this is the far that you've come. I will not accept this, I will not tolerate this. Self-care. Like they're saying, taking care of your body, grooming, you know, dressing well, waking up and having a shower, dressing up is such a mood booster, is such an esteem booster.
And you know, I love that because even when, you know, even when Jane was talking about it, and sometimes you can always fear, you can feel sometimes there's someone who's watching and they're jeering and they're sneering and they're like, that is so superficial. But I think the ladies here can attest to the fact that, you know, just presenting yourself, dressing well, etc. Self-love is something that has to be very purposeful. And it means even sometimes if you mean you have to get out of your comfort zone, you know. So I do know that people struggle sometimes with that, you know. Now I have to always look poised. Now I have to always look like this. No, I have to know. But you may have to do that, but you may not feel like it's a have to when you start getting the results, when you start walking into a room and feeling good about yourself. But yeah, I cut you short. Please continue.
It's okay. So now dressing up and just, owning your space, taking care of yourself. Also, indulging in some activity, like gardening, taking your dogs for a walk, learning how to cook a new recipe, learning how to ride a bike if you don't know how to ride a bike, learning how to swim. When you cultivate these new habits of learning new things, also your brain gets pumped up. You're like, yeah, I'm doing a good thing, I'm learning a new thing, this is exciting. Yes. Do that for yourself. Relationships also. We have the intrapersonal and interpersonal. Also understand, it's not always about knowing how to relate with other people. How do you relate with yourself? How do you talk to yourself? Most of us, like she said, like Jen said, we are very critical of ourselves. We are more compassionate and understanding when you're dealing with other people. When you screw up, when you make a mistake, you are so hard on yourself. But if your friend made the same mistake, you'd be, oh, wishy, Pole, there's room for improvement. How come? Why can't we extend the same compassion you have for other people to ourselves?
So from what I gather from the conversation, like what we've been able, about even the negative self-talk, and we'll come back to the negative self-talk, and what are some of the roots causes, because I don't think we woke up and we were born immediately and we just started telling ourselves, you're ugly, you're fat, you're this, So we'll come back to that with you, with you, Jacqueline, and you'll tell us, how you go about stopping that voice in your mind that is constantly bashing you and criticizing you and chastising you and all of that. So now, my next question is to you, Jane. So now that you've refused to tell me how old you are, which I will still keep pestering, but it is it's no secret. As women get older, and we're talking about self-esteem being one of the facets of self-love. As women get older, there's a crinkle here and there's a wrinkle here, and perhaps maybe your skin doesn't have the elasticity that it used to have. So you're finding some eye bags here. And of course, it can be a blow to somebody's self-esteem, and as much as you're confident, a slight change, because we are human at the end of the day. So I'm looking at you and I'm seeing flawlessness. I'm looking at you and I'm seeing flawlessness. I mean, what is your secret? What's the secret to the flawless skin?
Moisturizing. We can follow many things to do on your face, and you must have a skin routine, especially of a woman of a certain age. Yes. But the most important is immediately you take your shower, you must moisturize your skin. Take, for example, because this is the house I was born in, and this is the house when I die I will leave. So when you talk about you're not taking care of yourself, it's like the house which you have been given, a temple, there is no spare part. If you do not take care of this and make sure it is perfect, honestly, it takes away your self-confidence. Because even when you walk into a room and you don't like the way you look, you will make yourself look smaller and disappear somewhere in the background. But if you love the way you look, that self-confidence, by the way, it builds. As you take care of yourself, as you continue to appreciate everything about yourself, because women, we also tend to associate ourselves with, I'm somebody's mother, I am somebody's wife, I am CEO of this company, with things outside you. But we never really go within and find out who is this person. And that person, when you take care of that house, is how now you discover the inside person. So for me, self-care really comes together with, it all boils down to one thing, like you're a woman, you need, even men generally, it's not only women who should groom, but this is Dadas show, so we're talking more about women. Yeah. But for women mostly, this is what makes you into who you are. Yeah. It's how you run your business, it's how you associate with people. Because what happens when your children, for example, leave home, and all you are known is Mama Nani, then you're lost, So that is, to me, moisturize your skin, drink lots of water, vegetables, fruits. People think it's a cliche, it's not. Vegetables become more important as you grow old, And I realized this, and that is why I started doing what I was doing, is when I started aging. It's when I looked at my face and I said, no, I'm not going to go like my grandmother did. I'm not going to let that become me. I am going to take care of this temple until the last minute. And I'm going to make sure, right now I'm going to my 60s, Yes, now I've told you my age. I'm going to my 60s.
I think she deserves a round of applause for that, because I don't think anybody would have believed. And finally, the cat is out of the bag.
I am closer to 60 than I am to 55, so just put me somewhere in there.
Wow.
So, yeah, so when I looked at that face and I said to myself, even if I am a grandmother, which I am, I still need to be Jane. I'm not going to be Liam's grandma or, you know, the company, whatever. I need to be me. And that only comes with self-care.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Jane. And I think that is so inspirational. And I think most women would actually, you know, well, kill for your skin. And you know, towards 60, and I love what you've said about, you see how women get to a certain age, and I believe we had this conversation earlier, when women get to a certain age and they sort of just, give up on your skin, you feel you feel like you've expired. And I saw a video where Oprah Winfrey talked about, she does not like how society has completely, we hype up youth, and we celebrate youth, and we really push youth. That almost means that when men or women get to a certain age, then that they are rendered useless. Yes. They are set aside, they are cast aside. And she was talking about, she does not care. She doesn't care what age she is. She will continue celebrating and living life like she deserves to be here. Now, speaking of the youth, and speaking of Hollywood and societal norms or expectation or lack thereof, Kate, social media and Hollywood have played such a huge role in what we consider the perfect body, which of course in turn has led to a myriad of health issues, and of course very negative body image, eating disorders, especially for the younger generation, and they're very well represented here. When we look on our screens, this is the person who is considered she has the best body. Even from Africa, Kenya, outside, and they consider that. Now, when it comes to weight loss, there are different factors. There could even be a thyroid condition and stuff like that that will not allow somebody to be a size whatever, size 6 or whatever. What is your take on positive body image?
Like you said, the Hollywood has set standards. They always come and go. It's a trend. Today a thigh gap is in fashion. Tomorrow it's not a thigh gap. Tomorrow you want bigger hips. The other day we don't. So it's who are you as a person? Do you love? Because if you don't love yourself, especially self-love comes from inside, internally, mentally. Because if you don't love yourself, even if you get the big glutes or the big bum, as we say it won't make you happy. No. So positive self-image is loving who you are. And people, especially our young girls, they need to be taught from as early as possible. It's okay to be of a darker skin tone. It's okay to be curvy, to be tall, to be short, because that's the body you were given. You love the body you were given, then you work towards functionality. So we go to the gym not to punish or to repair what we think is flawed or wrong, but to be functional, to be stronger, to be better, to eat better, to relate, to sleep better, So it's actually basically, to put it simply, is loving the body you're in.
There's something you've said, and I wish we can be able to quote it and get it again. You've talked about not going to the gym to punish yourself and to repair what you think is broken. And I think that is a notion that you see everybody working out. I mean, are we in agreement where you see someone is working out and they look like they're in so much pain, they're suffering, it's a struggle. And so when you think about something like that, and I will give you my own personal experience, we've seen snippets and memes of people walking into the gym and just walking out because they're seeing people who are doing very erratic things. I don't know if anybody has been able to catch the video of a gentleman who levitates. Yeah, like that, and you're like, this is madness. And whoever is shooting this video just walks out of the gym. So going to the gym and working out, let's explore that.
So the first thing I would say is the first step is walking through the gym, putting realistic goals for yourself. Start it a step at a time. So the pace I was saying, if you're starting, start with 3 times in a week. Alternate the days. Start on Monday, rest on Tuesday, go on Wednesday, rest on Thursday, go on Friday, rest over the weekend. Start with that. Build up onto that. You build up into your behavior and your consistency. because there's no need going to the gym, doing so much today, and then you're sore for the rest of the week, or you're fatigued, and then you can't keep with the pace. So I'd want you to start even 30 minutes in a day, depending on how much you can push yourself, how much time you can carve out for yourself, how busy your schedule is. So you look at all these factors, and if you think you can get 30 minutes out of the day or an hour out of the day, start with 3 times a week. Then with time in a month or 2, let's say in 3-4 weeks, when you're changing your program, you can up it to 4 days in a week. Then once you're seasoned and you can train, you can do the entire 5 days in a week, right? And breaks, people don't know, you can't train the entire 7 days. Break is as important as the training days.
See, that's something that these people never tell us. Yeah. You see, how many times you're told, come, and then you go and work out. And I feel like this is like you're talking to me. So, because it feels like taking breaks and how often you can be able to do this and going with your pace. And of course, I'm right there on, beginner. And I like the fact that you talked about walking through the gym and you're sort of just seeing and embracing and saying, okay, this is it and this is what I'm doing. And even celebrating that first step. Thank you so much, Kate. We're going to move to Jackie, and we're still on the topic of, the positive body image. And I like what Kate had said earlier, especially about the younger generation. How do we go about instilling some of these values that, will make our young ladies, our younger dadas, as they grow up, that they're not going to be swayed by social media or what society considers to be a perfect woman.
These trends come and go. There was a time having big boobs was the in thing. There was a time having a bigger bum. I think it's the in thing now, plus the thigh gap.
Yes.
So once you make this, our little girls understand that these trends come and go, and they need to appreciate the body they are in. When they are young, they cannot affirm themselves enough. That's why they look to us as the caregivers to affirm them so they can feel secure in themselves. As they grow, they develop these skills to practice affirmations, to accept themselves as they are. But remember, during these developmental stages, as the caregivers, we are the key players in this. We are the ones who make comments about their bodies. We are the ones who tease them because during adolescence, they've got acne. We are the ones who tease them when their hair is kinky. We are the ones who tease because their peer is lighter than, than them. We're the ones who tease, we make these comments, and sometimes we don't even know how damaging how damaging these statements are. But if we can rectify that and affirm these children, it doesn't matter. Maybe your child has a certain body type that you're not comfortable with because maybe it triggers something that you went through you've not dealt with. It has triggered some insecurities in you. But once you understand that you need to build her self-esteem or his self-esteem, so that when they grow, they also know, by the way, I'm beautiful and wonderfully made. It doesn't matter what the world thinks. The trends come and go, but me, I'm good. Yes. Yes.
Oh yeah, that's wonderful. So let's move to you, Jane, and of course now we're the topic of self-love and influencing the generation of our sisters that is coming up. And you've touched on something that is very sensitive about skincare, and they have acne and they have this. What are some of the 5 things? 5 things, 3 things, or what are some of the must-haves when you're purchasing skincare products?
The things to consider when you're starting your skincare journey is, first of all, don't buy just randomly, because wherever you go, you'll have people telling you this is the best product, use this for your skin, use this. Always go to a shop that is legit. Go to a brand that is legit. Go and ask for somebody to analyze your skin and tell you what you need. You must get a product according to your skin type. You must make sure the product doesn't have any harsh chemicals, like use a soap that is actually going to tear your upper layer. So this, when you go and you tell them, I'm here to start on this, they will recommend for you, for example, you get a cleanser, you get a toner, you get a moisturizer, a serum, and a mask. Those are the 5 essentials. But do they have chemicals in them? What are the ingredients in them? How do I use them? Because also overusing of products, I actually made that mistake once, and I was masking like every night, and actually my face broke out instead of the other way around. So how to use these products? Don't just assume whatever is written. It's like when you go to a doctor and they tell you, You get a painkiller, you get an antibiotic, you get this, and you're like, no. Nobody ever tells the doctor, no, I do not want the antibiotic. But when you go to a skincare shop, like if you enter like our shop, somebody will tell you exactly what you're supposed to be using for you at your age. It's not the same as she's using. So those are the 5 things that you must consider: your age, your skin type, the ingredients, the product, the source of the product, and what others can I think of, honestly, to make them 5? And I would say the consistency of whatever you get, how you're going to be using it.
That's really well put, Jane. Thank you so much. And I think most of us have fallen prey to that, because we think about, and I'll actually get back to you again, when we think about skincare products and stuff like that, you tend to run for what is easily available and what is most easily and most affordable, without, and of course what is in season. And because of big data and all of that, you always get all these ads, and people are talking about 10% off, 50% off on something, and of course they have very nice models on the cover that are showing you this is what you do. So tell us a little bit, Jane, about, in terms of price consideration and the value for money kind of situation, because you've been on this journey for a while. Yes. And what do you say to the naysayers who keep on saying, skincare does not have to be expensive?
When you are buying a product and somebody tells you, like, for your age, this is what is good for you, I don't run to ask, first of all, what is the price? First, I will ask, what can it do for me? I'll tell the woman what it will do for you. I will tell you it will remove your fine lines, it will remove your wrinkles, it will remove your age spots. Now, how do you put a value to that? You can't. It's either that, or you go for Botox, or you go for surgical facelifts. So some of the products can be expensive, but it depends. What is it that you want from the product? Because I have cheaper products that you can take, but I'm not going to make you look 10 years younger with this. So the price, I always say, is the last thing I will mention when it comes to skincare. Yeah, it's about pleasing you and giving you your face back. Then you can be worried about the price.
Thank you so much. And I like what you said. The question is, what does it matter to you? Because if you have attached a lot of value to your appearance, and this, of course, works, correlates with everything else we're talking about to make you feel better about yourself, then I don't think we can. It's the same way we talk about healthcare. You cannot attach, a certain amount of money to certain things. And even when we move back and we even talk about, mental awareness, mental well-being, and that's why I want to go to you, Jackie. So we've talked about investing in a health and fitness regime. You do not necessarily need to go to the gym, but if you're the kind of person who needs a little bit of inspiration, good enough. We've talked about skincare. We've talked about looking for the best products, to whatever stages of your life we're in. Now we come to talk about mental health and self-awareness. The biggest problem we always have is because people keep on considering that therapy is something for people who are cuckoo. Yeah. Please, let's, on the day of celebrating love, let us try and bust that myth. How important is it sometimes to seek counseling, advice on this journey as young women, as older women, as on this journey as women? How important is that in self-love?
It is crucial. Everybody could benefit from a session or two. The myth that people who come for therapy are people who are bonkers, or people who don't have their life figured out, or people who don't have their together, needs to be demystified. I mean, you need to understand your thought process. You need to understand how to process your feelings. You need to understand how you relate with yourself. You need to understand your narratives that are running in your subconscious mind. You need to understand your purpose for being here. I mean, you're not born to just exist. You need to understand all these aspects about yourself. And I kid you not, you'll not only get this from feedback from people. You need a specialist to come into your world and unpackage all this and unpackage who you are, besides our titles, besides our roles, besides everything that we do, to identify who we are as an entity. That you'll not get out here. You need a therapy session or 2 or 3.
Yeah. Or 2 or 3,
yes.
Depending on you.
Yes.
So I think that's a very good place to go on break. So as you're sitting down considering whether you should book that therapy session or should book that session with a, with a dermatologist or with Jane, or if you want to contact Kate, let's take a short break and then we'll be back to my favorite part of the show, which is the question and answer session. Don't go far. Welcome to the second part of this show, which happens to be my favorite part of this show. I can never say that enough, which is the question and answer session where my audience gets to interact with my panel. So as they've been listening, if they have any questions, remember even you at home can actually interact with us. Please share with us your comments, your feedback, your questions, anything that you think about this show and any other show that we have done on all our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1. So to get the ball rolling with our question and answer session, I will start with Lorraine. Lorraine?
Hi, my name is Lorraine and my question is to Jackie. Okay, as an introvert, I get ridiculed, because I don't fit in well in social gatherings. At times I'm told that in my career I won't succeed because I don't know how to talk with people, I'm not really social. So that at times it affects me. My self-esteem, I try to avoid social gatherings and stuff. So how can I deal with that?
The first thing you need to embrace that you're an introvert and you don't have to do anything to conform to what people expect you to be. Once you're comfortable in your own skin and understand, they expect me to be this and this. They want to put you in a certain box. Yes. Who said you need to fit in that box? So you just do you. Yes. So show up for yourself and just embrace who you are. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jackie. That is really well put. So we have a question or a comment from Glory.
Okay, mine, I want to add on what Jackie has said about self-love. Self-love begins with yourself. If you don't love yourself, don't expect other people outside to love you. And if you have high self-esteem, regardless of how people say about you, your self-esteem will still shoot. And that leads to self-conduct, self-drive, and self-respect towards yourself. Yeah.
Wow. We need to give her a round of applause. Glory. Thank you so much. I get encouraged when I hear young ladies speaking like that because I'm like, yeah, now this is, we're on the right path to a very strong generation of young women, So our next question or comment is from Shep.
Okay, thank you. My question goes to Mrs. Jen. You can go to a dermatologist, maybe he or she can advise you on a product to use. Then when you use the product, it fails. What do you do?
I am not a dermatologist, and I always insist that when you have deep skin issues, you need to see a dermatologist. You must go back to the same dermatologist and tell them it is not working, because otherwise you're going to start with someone else and then maybe something else doesn't work either. So when it comes to medicine, don't compromise. Don't go to a shop like mine and tell me what should I use instead. I will always tell you, finish with the dermatologist first. And then if it really doesn't work, then that is when I will give you something to work. Because what we have natural products that I know, what I do is, I'm a cosmetologist. So what I will do is give you a product that will help with the breakouts. But for a dermatologist, you must go back. You cannot stop using them because they are trained to know whether it's coming from within. It's something hormonal. Yes. That is not something somebody else can help you. So trust the dermatologist, go back to them. Well, if it takes a few years, then you come to me.
That's really nice. Chep, I hope that has actually answered your question. And I think that one goes without saying, if you went to somebody who is reputable, so you've not gone to, a quack. So they will be able to come back and tell you, perhaps there's an ingredient that did not work out, etc. They may prescribe something else. But I think after the second or the third visit and you're starting to think, there's something a bit wrong, please always be open to get a second and a third opinion.
And you
Okay.
can also get a product.
Yes, and you can also get a
I
product.
can give you a product and you will go with it to the dermatologist and actually tell them, I have been given this from a shop, a Dead Sea shop or whatever. Can I use it? And your dermatologist will advise you, yes, this is good for you. So you can always, because you have to be proactive. It's your problem. Yes. You know, you can't just stick to one place forever. You will look outside for other sources, but always go to the dermatologist and say, I have this mask I've been told to use. Is it okay? And we'll tell you, yeah, why don't you try it? Or let's leave it for now. But yeah, it's important.
Well, thank you so much. That's actually very, very informative. So the next we have a question or a comment from Noel.
My name is Noel. My question is around fitness. Does one have to lose weight to be healthy?
There's no one size fits all. There are people who are curvy and healthy and flexible and fit. There are people who are skinny and very unhealthy. So you don't necessarily have to lose weight to be fit. Only you lose weight to be fit if the weight is a problem to you medically. Fitness is more than just the scale, the number on the scale.
Wow.
Yeah, you can be heavy and healthy. You can be light and very unhealthy. So you find why you need to lose weight, why you need to be healthy. Because we actually say fitness is 20% of your entire health and fitness journey. 80% is what you eat, it's your food. So that's where your healthy part comes in. 20 is just to supplement the 80, you know. So you don't have to lose weight to be healthy. You can gain weight to be healthy. You can maintain your weight to be healthy. So it's all about how you relate the fitness and the nutrition part.
Thank you so much, Kate. So I have a question for you, Jane. As we're getting older, you know, when is the right time to start an is that the right word? An anti-aging, you know, regimen.
Anti-aging, people think you're against aging, which is actually not.
I think that's why I felt some type of way where
Yeah,
I'm
you
like,
were
I'm rebuking
anti-aging.
aging.
No. It's about, you know, anti-aging. You don't want the signs of aging. It's not that of course, aging is inevitable, yes. And it's something to be adored. I mean, I mean, we are so lucky. I'm so lucky to be where I am right now, the level I am at my age, because some people get lost at the age of 20. So it's when we talk about your journey, you actually already started, because do you use sunblock?
Yes, I do.
There it is. Because the biggest enemy for skin is the sun. That how much sun you spend from the time you are young, even when you're a teenager or when you're swimming and you go to the sun without putting a sunblock, already you're damaging your skin. So you must start your journey as early as possible. That is by using sun. Even your own children, you take them and put sunblock when they are going out. So that's the journey. But if you're talking about the main journey, is honestly, I say from the age of 35, because that is when now your cells stop rejuvenating and they need a little help from you. They enter a stage of what we call senescence, where it's not rejuvenating anymore, they're dying. So you need to add something on top to help. You know, that is what I was talking about, moisturizing and masking. So whatever age, start, even if it's 20, even if it's 10, the journey starts honestly from the time you're a teenager, because of stay away from the sun. Your mother always tells you, stay away from the sun, cover yourself, don't stay straight, moisturize your face, so it is, you can start at whatever age, but take it seriously once you past 35.
Thank you so much. That was really, really well put, Jane. We have one more question from Helen. Helen, karibu sana.
The question I throw into our counselor is in regards to mental health and self-love. Because what's trending at the moment is the issue about mental health, and it's become like a serious problem globally, and we find like it's not being addressed properly. For instance, if I can give an example of the young student who took her life due to her menses, when she was on her menses, and then it showed to the level that she was degraded, was it by her teacher, and she ended up taking her life. So in such cases, you find that it seems like self-love and self-care was not present at the moment. So what would you say is the relationship between mental health and self-love, and at what point should one begin to be taught about how to love themselves fully?
The moment you have someone to take care of, you teach them how to love themselves. And how do you teach them how to love themselves? By loving them. You know, children are born looking up to the caregivers for love, support, affirmation, validation, and all those lovely things. If you don't give it to them, the child grows up feeling that they are not worthy of love, that they are not worthy of respect, that they are not worthy of validation, and they take it to them. And the child will not hate you at any point as the caregiver because you didn't give it to them, because they don't know how to nurture themselves. So even as they grow, they don't have the capacity to look within and fuel that love, because they don't even know how to, because it was not modeled to them. So immediately you have to take care of someone. Please show up for them. And I keep telling parents and caregivers, you need to show up for your children the way you'd have wanted your parents to show up for you. Most people, their parents, they don't show up for them. So most people struggle with self-love. So to answer your question, as early as possible, start showing acts of love, affirmation, validation, and everything nice to this child. And they will grow with it. Nobody can take it away from them. Yeah.
I think even I would be very curious, because when we're talking about caregivers and we're talking about parents and caregivers, okay, does this also incorporate, teachers? And because like in an incident, a very sad incident, for that matter, I think the point of contact, any point of contact where a child interacts with an adult, does that qualify that person as a caregiver? Especially in an institution, does that qualify as a caregiver? And what do you think needs to be done to ensure that these people get the necessary training to be able to, like you said, show up for these kids?
A caregiver is anybody who's taking care of a child. The nanny, the Sunday school teacher, the director of the school, the class teacher, everybody who's taking care of a child is a caregiver. Most people have unresolved childhood trauma, and we are not aware. And then we get triggered, and that is why we are not even able to show up for these kids, because nobody showed up for us to help us process all these unmet needs. So we don't even know how to meet them. So you have unmet childhood needs. You're an adult now, you're like maybe in your 30s, and you have a child here who's doing something that really triggers you. You don't know how to respond because nobody responded to you. So you're there reacting instead of responding to that child. You cannot react towards a child behavior or misbehavior. You need to respond because they are doing that because they need something from you. They need to feel safe. They need to feel loved. They need to feel secure. They need to be affirmed. There's a need they're trying to fulfill. Unfortunately, most of us, we look at the behavior. We don't want to understand the need behind the behavior of that child. Yeah.
I love that, and I think that's, to a message to anybody at home. When you're interacting with a child and they behave in a specific way, something that could be not pleasing to you. I love what the counselor has said. Respond. Do not react. So we've come to the end of today's show. But before I let my panelists go, remember when we started off the show, we were talking about self-love and the different facets that actually comprise of self-love. I want my panelists to give me, some of the gems that they have learned along their life. To get to where they are right now, to say that, I love myself. I'm going to start off with you, Kate, and then we'll come back this way. Share with us some gems, Kate.
I'm in my mid-30s. So what I've come to know is be free. You're allowed to take up space, especially as a woman, as a female. Take up space, be it carving time for yourself, showing up for yourself. It's not selfish. As we grew up, I remember I've been referred to as people in my family, people refer, even my friends, like in Swahili, unajipenda sana. You love yourself, Be free, love yourself, not to a point of being selfish, but to a point of putting yourself first. Understand that it's okay. It's okay to come first. It's okay to say, this and this time I can't commit. Have your non-negotiables. For me, fitness and gym is a non-negotiable for me. So if it's Sunday morning or it's Monday morning, this time between 6 to 7, this is my workout time. Because I'm not a surgeon, so there's nothing life or death that regards to me. So, and I'm not a mother or a parent, because I know with mothers and parents, kids come first. So carve time for you, have your non-negotiables. So know that if it's Sunday, it's my meal prep day, I have to be home to meal prep. I can go hike, I can go hang out with friends because that's my time. So take up space, carve time for yourself, have your non-negotiables, and they will guide you and direct you through life.
Wow,
Yes.
okay. There's some fantastic gems to pick up. We will also share them on our social media pages about some of the gems that I picked up from our fantastic panel. Yes, Jean.
To me, skin is the largest organ in our body. There is no way you can ignore it. You know, you're not going to go anywhere without, there are no spare parts coming for you. It will serve you long time. It will serve you for the rest of your life. If you do not take care of it, you will reach a stage where you actually want to die young because you've lost confidence, you've lost self-love, because when you look at yourself in the mirror, you just don't like what you see. So the earlier you start taking care of yourself, and even including some of the exercises, because we have women, now we reach a certain age where you have hip replacement, this. So add a bit of exercise. Whether you go to the gym, I don't go to the gym, but at least even if you're walking, you know, you take a lot of that, that will help your skin. Drink water, exercise a bit, even if it's not necessarily high intensity gym, you know, do what you can and always take care of this. There's nowhere else you're going
It's a
without it.
non-negotiable.
Yeah, it's non-negotiable. And when you're talking to me, where do you look? You look at my face, you're looking at me. So you don't want to start talking to people and you're hiding your face. So skincare is a must. It's part of the self-love that we are talking about. So don't underestimate its use.
Yeah, thank you
in
so,
your
so
life.
much. Those are powerful gems right there from Jane Bogo. And then finally, from Madam Jackie.
You need to love yourself. You need to show up for yourself. It's always you for you. Comparison is a thief of joy. That's what I learned. So you don't have to compare yourself. You don't have to compare your accomplishments, your journey with anybody else's. This is your life. Live it to the maximum. Do everything you can to live a life that on your deathbed, when you look back, you're like, I really lived well. I really, really did live well. And love you always, always, always.
Wow, I like that. You know, I'm picking little things. You know, comparison is the thief to joy. You know, I've never had that before, but when you actually internalize it, you think, wait, yes, I'm constantly trying to look like this person or sound like this person, and you know, I've always grown up with the notion that, you know, you're a piece to a puzzle without which the puzzle is incomplete. And sometimes when you internalize some of the things that people like to consider as mundane, you know, there's no one like you. And people keep on saying that's very cliche, but when beginning of self-love is actually internalizing some of the things that you have pushed to the back of your mind. So, of course, what are my gems as we are closing our two-part series on celebrating love, especially in this episode of self-love? Self-love to me is having a relationship with yourself, a relationship that is based of kindness, it's based of tolerance, it's based of compassion, it's based of a lot of patience. But self-love is also taking into account and being responsible and accountable for the mistakes that you have done, but not to bash yourself up, but dealing with yourself with a lot of grace and forgiveness. Remember, I loved what Kate said at the beginning. You cannot pour from an empty cup. For people who do not know what that means, is you cannot be able to love somebody else adequately if you do not have any for yourself. So what are your thoughts on today's episodes? What is some of the tidbits that you have gotten from today's episode? Please share with us, you know, share on all our social media pages, comment, give us some feedback. If you would also like to participate in the Dadas show, we are always, always, always ready to have as many Dadas and brothers for Dadas, like you have seen in our audience, to join us. So on behalf of my wonderful team at KBC Channel 1 and our location partner Gong Hills Hotel, and of course myself, Ashiko Mbune, I wish you all a self-loving week. I'll catch you guys next Sunday. Bye-bye.